The night was a suffocating blanket of black velvet, pricked only by the distant, uncaring city lights. Rain lashed against the window of my gilded cage, each drop a tiny hammer against my resolve. My name is Ilara, and this was the night I was to be sold, bartered away in a marriage designed to merge two powerful, heartless families. My fiancé, Alistair, had a smile that never reached his cold, calculating eyes. The thought of his touch made my skin crawl. My wedding dress, a magnificent creation of silk and lace, felt more like a shroud. Panic, sharp and icy, clawed its way up my throat. I couldn't do this. I wouldn't. My family believed they had thought of everything. Guards at the doors, my phone confiscated, my every move watched. But they underestimated my desperation. They forgot about the small, forgotten service exit at the back of the manor's sprawling kitchen, the one I used to sneak out to as a child to gaze at the stars. Slipping out of the suffocating dress and into a simple pair of jeans and a dark sweater I had hidden weeks ago, I took a deep breath. It was now or never. The rain was my ally, masking the sound of my frantic footsteps on the slick gravel. I ran, fueled by pure adrenaline, my lungs burning, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. I didn't have a plan, just a desperate need to put as much distance as possible between myself and that house. I stumbled into the guest parking lot, a sea of polished luxury cars. My eyes darted around wildly until they landed on a sleek black sedan, its door inexplicably ajar. It was a sign. Without a second thought, I slid into the back, pulling the door shut with a soft click and sinking down onto the floor, trying to make myself as small as possible. I curled into a ball on the plush carpeting, my body trembling, praying to a God I wasn't sure I believed in. An eternity seemed to pass before the driver's door opened. The scent of expensive cologne and the cold night air filled the small space. A heavy, commanding presence settled into the driver's seat. The engine purred to life, a low growl that vibrated through the floor. I held my breath. My entire body tensed. We drove in silence, the rhythmic swish of the windshield wipers the only sound. I must have been in the car for 20 minutes before a deep, impossibly calm voice sliced through the silence. "You can come out now. The floor must be uncomfortable." My blood ran cold. He knew. Slowly, shakily, I raised my head. In the rearview mirror, a pair of intense, steel-gray eyes met mine. This was not just any man. This was Damian Blackwood, the ruthless billionaire, the corporate shark, the man whose name was whispered in a mixture of fear and awe in the very circles my family ran in. His face, chiseled and impassive, was a mask of cold control. Terror seized me. I had jumped from the frying pan directly into the inferno. I was a stowaway in the car of a man who could crush my family with a single phone call, a man who surely wouldn't tolerate such a transgression. I'm sorry, I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. "I'll get out. Right now. Please don't." I couldn't finish the sentence. "Don't call my father. Don't turn me in." He simply kept driving, his gaze fixed on the road ahead. "Why were you hiding in my car?" he asked, his tone flat, betraying no emotion. So I told him. The words tumbled out of me in a torrent of fear and desperation. The forced marriage, Alistair's cruelty, the feeling of being trapped, of my life being stolen from me. I expected him to laugh, to sneer, to tell me it wasn't his problem. Instead, he just listened. When I finished, silence descended once more. He pulled the car into the underground garage of a towering, glass-walled skyscraper that scraped the clouds. "Come," was all he said, getting out of the car. My legs felt like lead, but I followed him, my mind racing. Was he taking me to his office to call the police? To call my father? We entered a private elevator that whisked us upwards with silent speed. The doors opened directly into a breathtaking penthouse apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed a panoramic, glittering view of the entire city. The space was minimalist, modern, and impeccably clean, yet it felt as cold and imposing as the man himself. He gestured towards a plush sofa. "Sit." He disappeared for a moment and returned with a glass of water. My hands were shaking so much I could barely hold it. He stood by the window, his back to me, a formidable silhouette against the city lights. "What's your name?" he asked. "Ilara," I whispered. He turned to face me, his expression unreadable. "Ilara," he repeated, the name sounding strange and foreign on his lips. "No one will force you to do anything you don't want to do. You are safe here." The words were so simple, yet they hit me with the force of a tidal wave. Safe. It was a feeling I hadn't known in years. Tears I didn't even know I was holding back began to stream down my face. Not tears of fear, but of profound, overwhelming relief. I didn't understand. Why was he helping me? A man like him had nothing to gain from protecting a runaway bride. He saw the question in my eyes. "Everyone deserves the right to choose their own path," he said, his voice softer than before. "Someone took that choice from me once. I won't let it happen to someone else if I can prevent it." For the first time, I saw a flicker of something other than ice in his eyes, a shadow of a past hurt, a hint of a shared pain that connected us across the vast chasm of our different worlds. He showed me to a guest suite that was larger than my entire apartment back home. It had its own balcony, a bathroom that looked like a spa, and a closet he told me he would have filled with clothes for me by morning. That night, for the first time in months, I slept without the specter of my impending wedding haunting my dreams. I slept in a stranger's house, a man feared by the world, yet I felt safer than I ever had in my own home. The next few days were surreal. Damien was true to his word. Clothes appeared in the closet. A personal chef prepared meals. He was often gone during the day, running his empire. But in the evenings, we would sometimes share a quiet dinner. He was a man of few words, but he was an attentive listener. He'd ask me about my dreams, my passions, the painting I'd abandoned, the books I loved. He never judged, never condescended. He just listened, his steady presence a silent source of strength. I learned that beneath the ruthless billionaire facade was a man who appreciated art, who had a dry, unexpected sense of humor, and who carried a deep-seated loneliness that mirrored my own. I found myself looking forward to our evenings, to the rare moments when his guard would drop and I'd see the man, not the myth. But I knew this peace couldn't last. Sooner or later, my family would find me, and they did. About a week later, Damien's head of security informed him that my father and Alistair were demanding a meeting. My blood ran cold, but Damien was unfazed. "Let them come," he said, his voice a low growl. "It's time we settled this." He insisted I be present. "You are not a child to be hidden away, Ilara. You will face them, and you will see that they have no more power over you." They arrived that afternoon, my father blustering with indignation, Alistair looking smug as if he were here to collect a misplaced piece of property. They stormed into the penthouse, their eyes sweeping over the luxurious surroundings with a mixture of envy and contempt. "Damien," my father began, his voice dripping with false pleasantry, "there seems to be a misunderstanding. My daughter, in a fit of girlish nerves, has run off. We're here to take her home." Alistair stepped forward, a cruel smirk playing on his lips. "Come on, Ilara. The game is over. You've had your little adventure." He reached for my arm, but Damien moved with lightning speed, placing himself between us. He was taller than both men, and his presence seemed to suck all the air out of the room. "She is not going anywhere," Damien said, his voice lethally quiet. "She is under my protection." My father scoffed. "Protection? What is this, some kind of white knight fantasy? This is a family matter, a business arrangement you have no part in. When you try to sell your daughter like livestock, it ceases to be a family matter and it becomes a human rights issue," Damien retorted, his eyes like chips of ice. And I am making it my business. He turned his gaze to Alistair. You will not touch her. You will not speak to her. In fact, after you leave this building, you will forget her name. Alistair laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. And who are you to tell me what to do? The contract is signed. The merger depends on this union. Damien smiled, but it was a terrifying sight, devoid of all warmth. That contract, he said, pulling a tablet from the nearby table, was contingent on a merger between your company and Hawthorne Industries, correct? He swiped a finger across the screen. As of 10 minutes ago, I own a controlling interest in Hawthorne Industries. The merger is off. The contract is void. The color drained from my father's face. Alistair stared, his jaw slack with disbelief. They were ruined. All their plotting, their greed, had come to nothing. In a matter of minutes, Damien had dismantled the prison they had built for me, brick by brick. Now, Damien said, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper, get out of my home, and if I ever hear that you have so much as looked in Alara's direction again, I will make sure the only business you have left is selling pencils on a street corner. They stumbled out, defeated and broken, without another word. The silence they left behind was profound. I stood there, stunned, watching the man who had just saved me. He had used his immense power, not for profit or for revenge, but for kindness. For me. I walked over to him, my heart full of an emotion I couldn't yet name. Why? I whispered, looking up at him. Why would you do all that for me? He finally looked at me, and for the first time, all the walls were down. The steel in his eyes had melted, replaced by a raw vulnerability that mirrored my own. Because, he said, his voice thick with emotion, I told you, everyone deserves a choice. And because in the few days you've been here, you've brought more light into this empty penthouse than I've seen in a lifetime. He gently brushed a stray strand of hair from my face, his touch sending a jolt of warmth through me. In that moment, I understood. I hadn't just escaped a gilded cage. I had stumbled into the life of a man who was just as trapped as I had been, albeit in a fortress of his own making. He wasn't just my protector. He was a kind, wounded soul who saw a kindred spirit in me. The world knew Damien Blackwood as a ruthless monster. But I was beginning to see the truth. I was seeing the man. And I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my soul, that my escape hadn't just been an end to my old life. It was the beginning of a brand new one.